The Boy Scouts of America is one of the largest private organizations in the country, but how did such an organization begin? In 1900, Robert Baden-Powell's Aids to Scouting, written for British soldiers, caught on with a younger audience. When Baden-Powell learned of his work's popularity, he decided to write a non-military field manual for adolescents that emphasized morality and good deeds, released in 1908. In 1909, American publisher William Boyce was lost in England when a Boy Scout assisted him, and then denied payment for the deed. By 1910, Boyce had organized the Boy Scouts of America, and the Girl Scouts and Cub Scouts followed soon after. As the years go on, Scouting becomes increasingly well-known and grows rapidly, gaining sponsors, awards, and making its way into the media, with films such as Disney's Follow Me Boys in 1966 being one of them. As Scouts grow to adulthood, several become recognized for even greater achievements, such as president, astronaut, and so on.
I was a Boy Scout from 1945 until I went in the Marine Corps in 1957. And I've been with the Burlington Scouts since 1974 up to the present time.
Scouting also undergoes many small changes.
You did participate in Scouting when you were younger. What rank did you achieve?
Star. I had enough badges for life, but in the 1940s, in order to be a Life Scout, you had to have Nature Merit Badge or Life-Saving Merit Badge, and I had neither one. I had a total of 14 merit badges at the time.
The requirements continued to change, especially with the increasing role of technology in Scouting.
Requirements have changed a lot. When I was in the Scouts in the 40s and 50s, you could not get a merit badge until you were first class. There were a few that you could get as second class, but now any Scout can get any badge as long as they fulfill the requirements. Back in the 40s, there were 4 citizenship badges: citizenship in the home, community, nation, and world brotherhood. Today there are only 3. So there have been changes. A lot of electronic badges now, which they did not have in the 40s and 50s.
Small changes such as these advanced Scouting to the organization it is today. Why is Scouting still so strong after 100 years? What benefit does it provide that makes it so worthwhile?
The development of leadership and individual strength. I've watched the kids go through a number of Eagle projects, my son included, and just seeing the amazing amount of personal growth that happens during those projects in terms of leadership skills, self-confidence, being able to pull together a project and use many different skills that have been learned along the way. It's nothing short of a graduate program for young people. And again, going back to the Girls in Scouting program, I'd like to see them be able to participate in something like that as well.
In my opinion, the part of Scouting that benefits the Scout the most is the opportunity to learn and demonstrate leadership. That's not really something that I see coming out of school programs or necessarily a lot of other camps or types of activities like that. There's other parts of Scouting that are very beneficial that you can get in other ways. You know, the outdoor activities, doing research for things like merit badges and so forth is similar to work that you can do elsewhere. But chance for a Scout to attempt to learn about leadership, you know, learn the mistakes along the way, the challenges, is a really key element to being in Boy Scouts.
If a boy puts his heart into it, I think the biggest advantage that he can get, or 2 of them, is 1, be more conscious of being a good citizen, and the second is being able to divide and allocate his time and to be more conscious of the fact that he does have all these requirements and he has to make sure that these things are done and fulfilled. So commitments are a big thing, and the Scout A good scout uh, finds a way to make sure that they're all done.
The skills taught in weekly meetings and campouts stay with the boys forever. From life-saving to citizenship, Scouts gain a deeper understanding of skills that will affect them for the rest of their lives.
The electronics, and for two reasons. One is that with all of the electronics today, Scouts have to allocate more time. They have to be more conscious of time requirements than they did in the past, because there are so many demands in so many different areas that they have interest in and participate in.
Eagle Scouts especially have a much greater standard for morality, work ethics, and community service, while simultaneously being better connected with family, nature, and spiritual beliefs.
I see Scouting creating young adults who are ready to serve others. They've learned how to serve through their individual service hours, going through a troop. They've learned to serve a community and a greater good doing their Eagle Scout projects. And you're always hearing about somebody doing well later on in life, and it turns out they have been involved in scouting. You know, past presidents, civic leaders, entrepreneurs, I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and they all share that same common thread that they were all involved in the scouting program.
The scout becomes a better citizen, becomes more involved in the community, and lends his abilities and resources to help make the community a better place for all of the people.
Scouting not only gives the Scout a greater understanding of his place in his community, but a better understanding of who he is and what he is capable of achieving.
So a big part of the scouting program is doing service hours for the community, and because that's part of the Boy Scout program that encourages people to think about ways that they can help their community. We provide the opportunity for the Scouts to get the community hours, community service hours that they need, but we actually end up doing a lot more service hours than that, and that's just because once you start thinking about helping out your community, you start seeing more opportunities to do that, and I think that's a key thing that the Boy Scout program provides for communities.
Yet despite all this, Scouting has been on the decline in recent years. Some sources suggest that this is because of the morality of society, while others are adamant that this is the result of discrimination and a lack of inclusiveness. While such cases of discrimination are minimal, and Scouting has become more inclusive every year, the facts remain the same. Scouting is half the size of when it peaked in 1972, with only 2.8 million members. Between 2013 and 2016, which was the last year for which numbers are publicly available, membership has fallen by about 10%, with Cub Scouts falling by approximately 23%. And yet, despite this, there is still hope.
Scouting has gotten a little more streamlined in terms of their paperwork, which is nice. They have gotten a little more business oriented in terms of seeking out new opportunities. And they are on the cusp of inviting girls into scouting, which is a big change.
I'm starting to see changes. Most of them have been in the news lately. A wider acceptance of people as scout leaders, as of scouts, and now they're considering bringing girls into the scouting program on the Boy Scout level. They have been involved in the adventure cruise and the Explorer cruise, I believe. So, yeah, eventually they'll work their ways up the ranks as well in Boy Scout.
I'd say it's the introducing the girls into the program. That's definitely going to elicit opinions from people from one extreme to the other, I'm sure.
I think bringing girls on board will be the biggest change. It's just started this year, so I can't say it has been the biggest change, but that will be a significant change. Prior to that, I think the biggest change in scouting is the expansion of scouting. again, the venture crews, the explorer groups. When I was a young man in scouting, the explorers had just started. The venture crews didn't exist. So there's a different nuance of scouting now for everybody.
For the most part, I think it can be a positive for Boy Scouts. Obviously, it depends in part on how they do it. The Boy Scouts of America has been looking for ways to get more scouts into the program, so this is a progressive move to do that, so that's a good idea. And I know that there's always been a chunk of girls in the that would be interested in participating in the type of activities that Boy Scouts offers that Girl Scouts may not.
You know, by and large, yes. It will have to be implemented carefully for the benefit of both genders. I do see a value in a dedicated boys group and a dedicated girls group, just so boys can be boys and girls can be girls without the outside pressures of the opposite sex weighing upon them. I went to an all-boys high school and I saw the benefits there. I had friends that went to an all-girls high school and I saw the benefits there. So there are benefits of having a dedicated program, but it shouldn't be so much so that both genders don't get the full benefits of the scouting program.
The Boy Scouts of America are constantly improving, and hopefully, scouting will cease its decline and begin growing very soon.
I think that scouting in general needs a better PR plan to try and attract the younger boys and girls into the scouting program, because right now there is not a lot of good PR out there, and not enough of the notice given to the young the youth to make them want to join Scouts. A lot of benefits, but the boys and girls don't know them.
I wish it got more support from the community. It's not so bad now, but a few years ago there was a lot of ill will and negative feeling towards scouting, to the point that you couldn't place recruiting posters or pamphlets out in schools, in other groups along the way, and it produces such a positive influence. It's not perfect, but it produces such a greater good that it really needs to be supported, and I think every child should be in the scouting program. Again, because it teaches the self-reliance, it teaches skills and abilities that will carry him on later in life. I'm seeing it with my son now. He's going for job interviews and he's accepted a job. Being an Eagle Scout has been one of the stars on his resume that future employers look at and say, oh wow, that's good. And now he was just telling me today about a project he's doing at work, and just like he had to pull people together for his Eagle project and to get them to do certain tasks at hand, he has to do this now at work. So even though he's the new young guy there, he already has the experience in doing this. It's prepped him well.
And how can you support the Boy Scouts? Simple. Recognize them when you see them in the community. Research for yourself so that you can be more knowledgeable in discussions about scouting. You might even consider joining scouting, either as a scout or an adult leader. Either way, the experience is worthwhile.